This is our Ford Bronco that we've owned for a little over 2 years now, and a lot of things have gone wrong with it. Some things small, some things medium, and some things real big. But despite those hardships, some of them ongoing, we love this thing in an almost irrational way, like it's our kid or something.
I love the Bronco.
I love it.
I love the Bronco.
I like it.
It's better than the Jeep, I'll give it that.
We have put this Bronco through everything, taken it everywhere, and of course, done mundane day-to-day things with it as well. Now that we've put about 40,000 miles on the odometer, it's time to take a look back and see what it's been like to live with our Bronco. The good, the bad, and well, I don't really want to call it ugly because, I mean, look at it. This thing, it looks great. It really does. Look at the tread pattern on these things. Look at how knobby these 35-inch Goodyear Territory MT tires are. And these hint at just how capable our Bronco was when we drove it right off the showroom floor. Our vehicle is a first edition and it comes built up to take on the great outdoors from day one.
I remember many times going out to my driveway and I'd see it there, and if I were to impersonate the Bronco, I'd be like, bro, let's go do something. And I would be happy to oblige. One time took it up on some trails. It was complete overkill for what I was doing. As an adventure vehicle, it's really great.
Well, pretty much the Bronco is our new scout vehicle. So if we're looking for different locations for new videos, it leads the way. And then we use it as a benchmark to test in different trails or obstacles to see if it's even worth it, to see if any other vehicles can even make it out there.
So as you heard, this thing is great off-road. Now, for me personally, I've driven this thing all over Southern California into various off-road parks, and with its really good approach and departure angles and plenty of ground clearance, it can navigate its way through or over pretty much anything. And as an added bonus, if you take a look on the underside, it's got metal in all the right places, so you don't have to worry too much about damaging things if you do come down on a rock kind of hard. I'm very nervous, but we're gonna see how far I can get. Ooh. Now, is this better than a Wrangler off-road? I'm gonna have to say no, and that's due to the fact that the Bronco has a bit of a different philosophy when it comes to its front suspension, and that makes it a little bit less flexible. But we're talking about differences that only appear when we're at the very edges of the capability of both of these rigs. But once you get off the trail,
unlike the Wrangler, the Bronco uses an independent front suspension. That means the front wheels can move up and down without affecting the height of the other one. That's better on road. It wanders less on the highway and just feels much more like a SUV than a truck. It's really nice.
The result is the Bronco, it just simply drives better on road. The front suspension seems a lot more planted, and it just makes everything more comfortable for driver and passengers alike. And it also means that when you're on the highway, you don't get that weird thing you get with the Wrangler where the steering wheel is all loose. This thing actually tracks pretty straight. Our Bronco also comes with the optional V6, and we would say that if you're going to buy a 4-cylinder Bronco, don't test drive this one because this engine is much better. Plenty of power in all situations. It also actually sounds pretty good for a V6. Now, I mentioned earlier that the steering in the Bronco feels better than that of the Wrangler, but that's not really saying all that much because the Wrangler steers really terribly. This thing definitely drives like a truck, which if it's what you want, you'll be okay with, and if it's not, you'll be a little bit annoyed by. But for me, what really bothers me about the Bronco is the noise.
So the Bronco doesn't just have noise, it has road noise, it has wind noise, it has tire noise, it has rattling noises. Every noise you can imagine while you're driving this car is going on and driving you slowly nuts the whole time.
Similar to our comments about the steering, the Bronco is also a little bit quieter than the Wrangler, but that's a bit like me saying that I'm skinnier than a sumo wrestler. I'm flattered, but only by the comparison. Lastly, our Bronco does actually come with a good amount of driver aids. It's got adaptive cruise control, it's got lane keep assist, all that good stuff, but the execution of them does leave you wanting a bit.
One thing I don't love that much about our Bronco is the driver assistance systems, especially the adaptive cruise control. It doesn't work below 15 miles per hour, so if you live in beautiful LA like we do, you can't use it in stop and go traffic, which you hit every single day. This is something that Ford has fixed in the newer Broncos, and we'd like to have that.
Lane keep assist was great on long drives, but in bad weather, it would turn off and not be so reliable.
Overall, we have been impressed with the Bronco's on-road refinement, and combined with its off-road capability, makes it a pretty complete package. Like I said in the intro, our Bronco, It's been everywhere, man. It's been everywhere. So as you saw, that was a lot of miles and a lot of places in our Bronco. And in that time, we found plenty of things that we both like and don't like about this vehicle. One of the things that we've really enjoyed is how easy it is to take off these roof panels. So both the front ones and a rear panel come off, and the nice thing is that when they do, there's no center bar here like you'll get in the Wrangler, so it's really very open top motoring. There's no question that we've really enjoyed the Bronco's retro styling and its attention to detail. It's got great badges and a really cool Bronco spelled out in the grille in white. But along with that retro styling also comes a very retro sort of angle to this windshield, and it's actually very upright. And that means two things. One, it's a bit more susceptible to nicks from rocks and things like that. And two, it kills more bugs than a zapper. And as such, we feel like we've had to replace the wiper fluid on our Bronco pretty frequently. How do you feel about the Bronco?
I did not like the Bronco.
The trunk door feels heavy because of that pneumatic tube that's trying to pull it closed. And you got to get it open really far before that gives up yanking it closed. So loading and unloading is a pain, in part because you can't open the glass without opening the door first. What is the point of that?
As a shorter woman, the grab handles in the vehicle were not placed in convenient areas to make it easy to get in and out of the Bronco.
So even though this grab handle isn't exactly in the right place, there's a lot of other things on this interior that we think are perfectly placed, especially if you're going to go off-road, starting with these aux switches, which are up here and very nice and easy to reach. I've also come to appreciate the fact that the Bronco puts a lot of your off-road controls way up high, where it's easy to see and reach them off-road. So if I need to do anything like disconnecting the sway bars or locking any of the diffs, all that action happens up here, unlike in the Wrangler where it's down here and kind of hard to see and reach. In the Bronco, super easy. We've also come to appreciate the Bronco's excellent surround view camera system, and I personally really like that it has a dedicated camera button. And you don't just get a front view with this vehicle, you get nice views down the sides if you're trying to navigate rocks, or even a surround view, which will help you with parking and other things. A really good setup here, really helpful on-road and off. So what's broken on our Bronco so far? And to start with, this little guy used to be connected to the rear defroster, and I'm going to tell you in a second exactly how much Ford wanted to charge us to fix it, but that's just the first thing. We've had much bigger issues. By far, our biggest mechanical failure with the Bronco has been with the front axles.
So we had the Bronco on a chute, and us threw a code saying that the four-wheel drive system was unavailable. We got it home, no problem. We took it to a dealer to be responsible, and they said they couldn't replicate the problem. We took it to another dealer. They said they couldn't replicate the problem.
So with that clean bill of health in hand, we kept driving it around and even took it on a long road trip to Montana.
We decided we wanted to take a picture by the Welcome to Montana sign. Simple enough. So we pull off to the side of the road to take a picture of the Bronco, which we do for the gram, and we get back into the car and we are stuck in just a few inches of snow. The Bronco should be able to easily climb out of that. No. So we had to have the car winched out, and we took it to a dealership in Bozeman, Montana.
Which again, couldn't replicate the issue.
Instead, they said it was user error. Can you believe it?
So our staffers piled back in and drove all the way back to Los Angeles. Once it made it back to LA, the issues sort of persisted, so we took it to a third and final dealership, Ken Grody Ford down in Buena Park, and they were able to diagnose the issue in just a couple of hours.
They threw it on the lift and discovered that both front axles needed to be replaced. So they went ahead and replaced both axles and the differential housing. Luckily, the whole service was covered under warranty. Otherwise, it would have been over $5,000.
Even though the front axles are fixed, there are some things on this vehicle we haven't fixed yet, and that's partially due to cost. So this little thing right here on the rear defroster, to replace this, Ford wanted to replace all of the glass. That would have cost us $2,000, so we haven't fixed that yet. And also our driver's door net, there's a little pocket there for some of your stuff. The bottom of that has frayed out, but they don't sell the net individually. We have to buy a whole brand new door panel, so Ford wanted $1,000 to fix that. Those are two things that we'll probably fix on our own at some point for hopefully much cheaper along the way, but for now, here they are. And now we get to answer one of our favorite long-term questions. What is it worth today? We purchased our Bronco in December 2021 for about $62,000, and when we got it appraised in June 2024 with about 40,000 miles on the odometer, we were offered $46,000 for it as a trade-in. which means that in about 2.5 years, it lost $16,000 of value. That number was pleasantly a bit more than we were expecting, but there's a good reason for it. Our Bronco is one of 7,000 First Edition models that Ford built to kick off the Bronco's rebirth. And we were told that if our Bronco was not a First Edition and just a normal Bronco with the same equipment, the offer would have been considerably less, in the mid to high 30,000s. So we've come to the conclusion of this video, but thankfully not the conclusion of our time with the Bronco, because even though it's leaving our long-term fleet, it's still going to be in our garage as it takes on its new role as our support vehicle for our video team for off-road shoots, a role that was previously filled by a Wrangler. We took our Wrangler all the way into the 6-figure mark on miles, and hopefully our Bronco makes it that long as well. Now, it is worth noting that for its first 50,000 miles, the Wrangler was a lot more bulletproof than this Bronco has been. It really didn't have any major mechanical issues until after it crossed that mark and became a support vehicle. The Bronco, however, as we've shown, has had plenty of issues in its first 40,000 miles, so we're hopeful that it will make it to that mark without any other large issues, but I'm a little bit scared. This is the part of the video where we would normally try to answer the question, would we buy the Bronco again? But for this vehicle, with its nearly unanimous approval rating, that's a bit of a foregone conclusion. Our staff, we all get a little bit misty-eyed when we look at the Bronco. It's got genuine curb appeal, and being behind the wheel of something that you know can drive over just about anything, it's a pretty good feeling. So instead, we decided to ask our staff, many of whom have spent many miles behind the wheel of both the Bronco and the Wrangler, which one of those they would choose.
I vote Bronco.
Wrangler.
Bronco.
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 Wrangler.
Bronco.
Definitely the Wrangler.
Bronco.
Well, that was a bit of a landslide, and for me, I would have to cast a vote for the Bronco as well. My wife and I have some friends that we're actually trying to convince to move to California, and last night, I decided one of the best ways to do that would be to take them out in the Bronco, take the roof off, and take a nice drive at sunset down by the ocean. And this vehicle is both great at cool moments like that and also excellent off-road. And I just think you have fewer compromises with the Bronco than you're gonna have with the Wrangler. And that's about the biggest compliment that we can give to the Bronco as a staff, because even though it's treated us imperfectly, all you need is love,